Hello, everyone, and welcome to Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by SupermanHomepage.com, the number one Superman fan site in the world. In this, our August 26, 2024 show, we're going to be covering a range of topics, including our first official look at Skyler Gisondo as Jimmy Olsen. We're going to be looking at the official poster and trailer for the Superman, the Christopher Reeve Story film, documentary film. We've got some other details to get through to the final show for the end of the month. So we've got our regular segments that we like to do, and we've got so much more to get through. And joining me, as always, are my good friends, Michael Bailey, Mark Lax. Welcome, gentlemen. Welcome back, Mark.
Thank you.
I'm glad that I'm glad those legal troubles were able to get worked out for you, and you were able to come home.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you. It was tough going there. I didn't know. Had to get a lawyer, so it was horrible.
Very good. All right, so we are tonight covering a range of topics, as I said, and thankfully we are brought to you by our great sponsors and patrons, Luke Moody, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, and Tina Murray, and they have bought us my coffee this week. So I want to thank Luke Moody, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, and Tina Murray for their support. And you can join those fine folks and buy us a coffee each week by becoming our champions. All you have to do is click the join button there on YouTube. There are different levels of membership with different levels of perks. Or you can go to patreon.com/Superman homepage. And thank you for our coffee this week. Got to get better at making that look more realistic. And joining me as always, Michael Bailey, Mark Lax, and gentlemen, we are at 100,000 subscribers and counting.
Woohoo!
Woo.
Yes, actually, I should. Where is it? Here we go.
There we are. Should be getting your plaque soon. Thank you. Yeah, well, you have to actually apply for it, believe it or not, and then you don't just naturally get it. You have to apply for it, and then they've got to go through and make sure that your account is legit and is, mostly original content and all that kind of stuff, and isn't breaking any community guidelines or what have you. So I tried to apply for it today, and since we cracked the 100,000 subscriber mark yesterday, and it's still saying you haven't reached 100,000 subscribers. It does say something about within 10 days. So I guess I'll just kind of be patient. There's no rush. It'll get here. But yes, 100,000 subscribers and just already over that mark by a fair bit. But thank you to everyone who is a subscriber of the Superman Homepage YouTube channel. We really appreciate your support. And we will continue to bring you the great content that you are familiar with. Most of those people are, subscribe to our shorts, seems, because our long-form videos don't get anywhere near the amount of views that our shorts do. But I guess that's the nature of the internet these days. People are got, very short attention spans. An hour show isn't something that is for everybody, but we do love the fact that we do have our regulars who come in each and every week and watch us, and we love the fact that they spend this hour with us each week. Absolutely.
Personally, I like longer form videos on YouTube. I'll click on the shorts if something looks interesting. Our shorts, of course, but there's a few other things, but mostly I like, when it's a good anywhere 10, 15, 20, even a half hour, depending on what it is. I enjoy longer videos, because the little shorts only show you so much. So, and our stuff, your long form stuff is great. So watch that, everybody, please.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think it's the way of the internet at the moment is, with shorts and reels and, all those things that people are just kind of mindlessly scanning through. They just like to get a quick fix. But YouTube is becoming renowned for its longer form stuff. People are watching YouTube more than they're watching regular television for their content. So, and with AI and everything starting to become so prevalent these days, authenticity is what a lot of people will be looking for, and being able to trust familiar faces because there's so many faceless videos out there. Hopefully, that will garner us some extra attention and the trust of our viewers. And while we might not be the best looking trio out there on the internet, you can trust us.
Yes, trust. Trust and hope.
That's right.
Trust and hope.
That's it. All right, well, let's get into tonight's topics. And first off, we did, as I said, get our first official look at Skyler Gisondo as Jimmy Olsen for the new movie. Thanks to James Gunn, who posted these couple of images, different images across his different social media accounts. This was one of them, and then this one was the other. And he did it on the anniversary of Jimmy Olsen's first comic book appearance, retrofitted to Action Comics number 6 from 1941. I have to stipulate that because he was not named as Jimmy Olsen. He debuted in this comic book as an office boy, an unnamed office boy in Action Comics number 6. Officially first made his appearance on the radio series on April 15th in 1940, where Action Comics number 6 was released in 1941. So after, obviously, the radio series where Jimmy was first named, and then Jimmy eventually became known and named in the comic books. But James Gunn nevertheless used this opportunity to post these couple of images of Skyler Gisondo.
Yeah, the amusing thing was seeing people comparing it to the Jimmy Olsen from Batman v Superman, and I'm like, guys, that's not a comparison. I mean, this is a fully fleshed out character. I don't think at any point is James Gunn going to have someone shoot this man in the face. I mean, you never know. He may throw us he may zig when we're expecting him to zag. But it's just this continual, and it's going to happen because Superman fan's going to Superman fan. But this continual comparison to the Snyderverse and all that. Anytime one of the new versions gets any kind of attention is just kind of amusing at this point.
Yes, exactly. John Patrick Van Pelt asking, when was Jimmy Olsen officially first named in the comic books? Good question. I'll have to go quickly through and have a look at when that happened. Michael's going to be reaching for me
I think
right
James
now.
Gunn mentioned it, but
no, he says
he said he first meant. I think he was first mentioned, but the first time we saw him, he was a copy boy.
Yes,
something to that effect.
Exactly. Let's have a look what he does say. It doesn't say anything about when he actually made his comic book debut, but in his post. But I know Michael's scrambling for it right now, so I'm sure we will give you that answer soon. But thank you for that super chat question, John Patrick Van Pelt.
Jimmy is first referred to by his full name, Jimmy Olsen, in Superman number 15 in the first story.
There you go, Superman number 15. There's your answer. Books, people. Yes.
Which one?
Right.
Which one?
Books.
Original
This
encyclopedia.
is the reprint. This is the reprint of the Michael Fleischer one. Now, I also have, because I'm me, the original printing.
Yes.
Right next to it, but that one was closer.
So thank you for that one. Hope that answers your question, John. All right. So, what are we thinking? I mean, we've seen him, obviously, in unofficial photos that were released from this set. But, I mean, is this the first redhead Jimmy Olsen we've had in live action? I mean, I know that Mark McClure was kind of a little bit ginger, but not really.
No.
Have we seen a redhead?
I think you're right.
Superman Returns was Sam Huntington. Wasn't he redhead?
Not technically.
No?
I don't think he was. Have to look it up. Michael's doing another scramble, but yeah,
I'm fact checking like mad tonight. It's funny.
I don't think he was necessarily a redhead. I mean, he was, kind of sandy haired, but I don't think he was a redhead. But nevertheless, yeah, I think this might be, the first official. And I'll
Um, it's not like red.
no, it's not a ginger.
It's reddish, but McClure had brown hair,
Mm,
and definitely Jack Larson didn't.
that's right.
Uh,
Yeah, dark hair. Yeah.
yeah, neither did what's his name from Smallville either.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh,
No,
one of the
he
brothers,
was more of
twins.
a blondish kind of, wasn't he?
But
Yeah.
I was trying to think about where I had seen Skyler Gisondo before because his face is very familiar, and then I realized that he was the son in the is it Ben Stiller or in Night at the Museum?
Yep. And he plays Tess Mercer's son on The Righteous Gemstones on
Ah,
HBO.
there you go.
And he was also in a movie I could not get through, Licorice Pizza. I tried. Me and that director do not get along. Not personally. I've never really spoken to him, but he just has this tendency to leave the camera running for a really really long time, and I'm like, can we get back to the story? Because this is just not me. But some people love him. So, but yeah, he's been acting for quite some time. I do like the look of him for Jimmy Olsen though. He does seem to be like kind of the first like redheaded spunky version of the character. Not that all the others are bad. I mean, I'm hashtag Team Michael Landis from Lois
Okay,
and Clark. I was another against the other guy, but I just really preferred him.
fair enough. I was always a big Jack Larson fan. Loved Jack's version of
Yeah.
Jimmy, the gosh darn it kind of version.
It was his popularity, I think, that really got the
Yeah,
Superman's
yeah,
pal Jimmy Olsen going. I mean, I believe
for sure.
a part of it. Anyway.
Definitely. All right, so that's where we're at. Obviously, July 11th, 2025 is the release date for the upcoming movie. We're looking forward to any further details coming down the line. But another film that is coming sooner than that is the documentary film Superman, the Christopher Reeve Story. And we started the week with the official poster that was released for the film. A fantastic looking poster of Christopher Reeve as Superman, a husband, father, fighter, hero. Once you choose hope, anything is possible. With the release dates of September 21st and September 25th, they're mentioned at the bottom. And then the day when this was released online, they mentioned that the trailer was coming the next day, and that dropped today. So the poster was yesterday. The trailer dropped today. Here is a little bit of that for you right now. There's just the first 30 seconds or so of the trailer, which you can watch online at our website right now. It is an emotional ride. Just watching the trailer alone, had myself and my wife in tears just watching it this morning.
Mm-hmm.
And I can imagine it's just going to be an emotional roller coaster when it comes to watching the actual film when we do sit down to watch it in full.
Yeah, absolutely. It was I was not emotionally prepared for that trailer. I really wasn't. I just as it kept going on and on. Adam Mallinger, who was a writer on Superman and Lois on X today, mentioned that he would really like the arrangement of the Williams themes that was at the end of the trailer. I was just like, yeah, they need to release that because that above anything else is what kind of broke me into tears is them playing that and showing the footage and all that. It was just I'm about to start crying now. Yeah, I also like, and this is petty, but September 21st this year is Batman Day, and they're putting this out on Batman Day, and yes. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Oh, it's I was just blown away by the version of the soundtrack that they put in there. The themes, the John Williams themes, is definitely a different take on it, and definitely pulled at the heartstrings. Along with the obviously the video footage and the stories that are being told, and the interviews with his children, and seeing Robin Williams in there as well, and seeing some of the other actors who were interviewed for it. It just looks like it's so well done, and to see James Gunn's comments on his social media accounts, the fact that he and the cast of the new Superman movie sat down to watch the film in full together, just shows. I mean, for what it's worth, the Christopher Reeve films for many of us are the pinnacle of what a Superman film should be like. And the fact that there's so much reverence being paid to that film and to his version, along with the fact that, we want something new, but we still want them to be able to, pay tribute to what's happened in the past. The fact that they're doing that, to me, speaks volumes for what's coming up for us in July 2025.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that you can hold two thoughts in your head at the same time. You can acknowledge the fact that Superman is a part that's going to be played by other actors and has been played by other actors and should be. I mean, we should continue. New generations should get their version of Superman. But on the other hand, I really do believe that Christopher Reeve, he occupies this really singular spot in Superman history. He is the only actor to play the character in 4 films, and to play it for as long as Tom Welling technically played him more, just because there was 10 seasons of a TV show and over 200 episodes. But in terms of the films and in terms of living in the pop culture, that occupied a very specific time and place that still has resonance today. So you can say, yeah, we need a new Superman, but you can also say Christopher Reeve is one of the Supermen, especially with everything that happened in his real life.
The fact that they're using Will Reeve as a cameo in the upcoming film shows that reverence that they're showing to Chris's standing in the Superman pantheon. Mark, what did you think when you saw it?
Oh, I didn't get to see it yet.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
Well, get a handful of tissues ready, because it is a tearjerker. Yeah,
I've heard, but I haven't gotten to see it yet. So.
Okay, so definitely worth watching, folks. If you haven't seen the trailer yet, definitely worth having a look at. And D Runk Comics in the comments mentioned that Henry was technically also in 4 films, although 2 versions of the one film, if you like. But yeah, technically 4 films in total.
I'll concede the technicality.
Yeah, but he didn't do it in the span of a decade. So
No. So nevertheless, we definitely tip our hat to the creators of this documentary film. The trailer alone is just phenomenal. So we are looking forward to seeing this film when it gets released. It will be 21st of September and the 25th of September in the US, later in the year for fans in the UK, and in early October for fans in Australia. But it is only a 1 or 2 day screenings. I'm sure demand will probably make it that they will have to do it further if it doesn't go straight to digital release or Blu-ray DVD kind of thing. But I imagine just from word of mouth that there'll be a lot of people wanting to see this, and more screenings may and eventually be organised. But on the film side of things, for fan films, The Glorious Pictures has created a 6-minute CGI fan film titled World's Finest, which features the likeness of Robert Pattinson as Batman opposite David Corenswet's Superman. Here's a little bit of the ending towards the end of this fan film.
You can watch the full 6-minute thing at our website. It's pretty good for the likeness. A little bit clunky in some of the special effects, but have a look.
Bruce. But still, if you ever need help, just let me know. I'm just one call away.
I won't.
Is it because you don't want to, or because the lines are down here?
Please do me a favor and lose that sense of humor.
Do us both a favor and buy one.
As I said, bit clunky. I don't know why Superman looks like he's sitting down as he's flying away, but looks like a bit of kind of AI help in the CG stuff that they did there. But nevertheless, great likeness. The costumes look fantastic, and well done to the Glorious Pictures for putting together a fan film using completely computer graphics to do that. But yeah, if you're interested, it's up on our website to view right now.
Mm-hmm. I have yet to see it. I have, so I can't really comment on it too much.
Fair enough. I don't blame you. Like I said, I just was a quick view to this morning. 6 minutes, not much to it. A little bit slow in its pacing, but I was impressed with some of the special effects and the costumes. It's good to see the Superman costume in motion, even though it is just CG. But nevertheless, still enjoyed it. So well worth having a look at if you're a fan of fan films. All right. Well, the main topic of our discussion tonight, as per our graphic that we showed for tonight's show, was the release of some more imagery and logo for the upcoming comic book, Absolute Superman. I know, Michael, you were saying last week if this is something you're interested in, more power to you, but not something you're necessarily that keen on. But the Absolute Universe will be hitting our comic book shelves in October, November, and beyond. And this week, DC revealed the main cover to Absolute Superman #1 with a new logo. I'm going to be showing you them right now. So that's the main cover for Absolute Superman #1. And then there was some of the variants that they released, which some of them were a lot better than others, with different versions or artist renditions of the upcoming costume. But I definitely like the new logo. There's something about it that is really eye-catching.
Yeah, it's kind of like the middle ground between the traditional logo and what David Cornsweet's going to be sporting, that Kingdom Come type one. So it's okay. I mean, it's just I am trying I'm trying not to say things that are mean. But yes, the logo is the thing about it that I like the most. So I'll give it that.
Yeah, I like the logo. I don't know. I mean, will I read the first issue just to get a hint of what it is? I might. I don't know. I know Jason Aaron. What was it that he said? Trying to make it modern, super, relevant or something. I don't remember what he said, but it kind of turned me off.
Yeah, I don't like it when they try to make out like Superman is not relevant in his natural form or in his main titles, like as if there's something wrong with those. So, yeah, this Superman has no family, no fortress of solitude, and no home. Will he still stand for truth and justice in this new universe? Well, it says readers can find out when Absolute Superman #1 hits participating comic book shops on Wednesday, November 6th. So a couple of months away before we see this first issue, but it will be published with a main cover by Rafa Sandoval and Ulysses Areola, plus variant covers by Wes Craig and Mike Spicer, Jim Lee, Scott Williams and Alex Sinclair, Clayton Crane and Matteo Scalera. So, be interesting to see just what it's like. I will give the first issue a run and see what it's like, and obviously we will be reviewing it here at the Superman homepage, so you can be sure that our website will be covering the entire run of the Absolute Superman title and giving you our views on what it's like, and be interesting to see what fans think of it when it is released
starting in November.
I predict that there will be people that love it and say this should be the main Superman, and there will be people that say this isn't Superman, and there's just going to be fighting between the two of those. I think that the main problem is that these characters like Superman occupy a certain lane that when you take them out of it, you kind of cease being that character. Anybody can have superpowers and fly and be invulnerable and have super strength, and exist. But what makes Superman Superman is the fact that, as James Gunn has been alluding to, he's a good man in a world that isn't good. He is. Mark Waid at one point as well said that the best way to handle Superman in a movie is make the world around him dark, but don't make him dark. Because he's the source of inspiration. He is both a fictional character and an icon, and that's tough. But there's just been this constant need over the past 10 to 15 years of trying to take things away from him to quote unquote make him relevant, and it just at that point it kind of ceases to be even a play on the original concept. So it's just, I don't know. I at the risk of sounding like an old man, which I'm rapidly becoming, I'm just tired of this. But on the other hand, this might be somebody's first go around with this type of take on Superman, and they may love it. So I have no right to try to take that away from them.
Oh, no, fair point. And Mind the Gap says Absolute Superman doesn't interest me as much because if you take humans raising him away from him, then he's not really Superman. Rick also adds he's sick of deconstructed Superman. And Mind the Gap also reminds us that the DC All-In special is supposed to be the precursor to this event. So if you're interested in the Absolute Superman line or any of the Absolute lines, because there's a Batman, Wonder Woman as well, then you'll need to check out the DC All-In special that is the precursor to it. I'm glad that the Superman logo is pretty striking because the Batman, Absolute Batman logo looks like a cotton spill with spikes.
I don't get
it. Looks like they took the Frank Miller Batman symbol from The Dark Knight, the second costume in The Dark Knight, and they put it in the oven too long, and it just kind of melted out. And again, I get it. You're trying to do different versions of these characters, but the bat symbol is pretty iconic, and that doesn't say a bat. That says graphic art design. That am I supposed to squint? I mean, I don't really understand it.
Yeah.
Again, maybe it's because I'm old.
There
it's
it is.
Like a rectangle with
there it is on the top
rectangle
left
with a fringe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolute Batman, and then there's Wonder Woman as well. And these are what they're going to be having in, where am I here? Promo cards, trading cards, promo cards. Every week in October, DC are giving retailers a new Justice League trading card to give away free to fans who buy a new DC comic book of any kind. And Scott Snyder on his Twitter account said these will be collectible and free, and for retailers to give out at their discretion. The first 5 weeks of DC All In. The goal is to reward you guys for going into the stores, supporting your shops, and checking out a new DC comics of any kind, new, classic, or anything. So they're something that you might be looking out for. And there is a Superman. Look at the Superman one there. So it could be used like a bookmark, whatever you want. But these are something that you'll be able to look forward to in October. So there is that. All right, well, we are at the halfway mark of tonight's show. We're going to play a few messages, take a quick break. We'll be back on the flip side to do, we've got the monthly segment. We've got our Clark Kent look at his costume to do. So we've got so much to get through. Here is our break. We're back right after this.
We'll be back in a moment with the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
If you're enjoying Superman Homepage Live, then please like and share this video with your family and friends. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, then you can click on the bell to receive notifications whenever we post a new video. You can also join our YouTube membership program, just click the join button below. Or you can become a patron and support our website by going to patreon.com/supermanhomepage.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird.
It's a plane. No, it's SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. SupermanHomepage.com, covering the world of Superman from the 1930s to today. News, reviews, rumors, and reports. SupermanHomepage.com for all your Superman comics, TV shows, movies, cartoons, radio shows, and more. Everything you ever wanted to know about the Man of Steel and more. SupermanHomepage.com.
Thanks, Superman Homepage, for all the support over the years. I really appreciate it.
I'm Matt Bomer. I'm the voice of Superman in Superman Unbound, and this is the Superman Homepage.
Right here on Superman Homepage.
Just try one. If you don't like it, it's easy to give up.
Uh-oh, nicotine. I'd better move fast. Up and away!
Go on, kid, go on.
Superman, is it hard to give up smoking, or is it easy like nicotine says?
You no good windbag, nicotine.
No, Superman. Leave me one. Please, I need one.
That's how hard it is. And that's why I never say yes to a cigarette.
We're back on Superman Homepage Live, where we are going to get into our regular segments, starting with our fan favourite segment. So let's get into that right now. All right, our fan favourite question from last week was, what is your favourite Superman cover featuring Jor-El and Lara, or Lara? And we had a number of people respond to this one. Who was first up, Michael?
That was John Patrick Van Pelt, and he wrote, here are some comic book covers that includes Jor-El and Lara. But I got to tell you, this wasn't easy trying to find comic book covers that have Jor-El and Lara, and I hope the next fan favorite question is a little bit easier to find.
Challenge. But thank you so much, John Patrick Van Pelt, for sending in those three covers. Very cool. Thank you. Mark.
David Rustage wrote, my favorite cover has to be for the Return to Krypton story, Superman 141, but I couldn't leave out the Superboy and Lois Lane covers. They appeal to my sense of fun.
Yeah, thank you very much, David. Appreciate your response there. Next up was JP Rocha, and JP said, my favorite Jor-El and Lara cover is The World of Krypton #4 by John Byrne and Walt Simonson. I've always liked Byrne's designs for Krypton. Plus, who does not love Lara's headdress? That is pretty funky.
Love is a strong word. I'm just going to say that. Jason J. wrote in, both my picks happen to be happening in the Fortress of Solitude, which is interesting. My first choice would be Action Comics number 261, classic image by Kurt Swan, plus bonus Streaky gets a cover appearance in the bottom left corner. My runner-up depicts elongated man trashing Superman's crib with his limbs wrapped around the statues of Lara and Jordan L. Also, Michael, you did pronounce my name correctly last week. Kudos to you. Yeah, like I said, Jason, that comes from being raised in the Pennsylvania Dutch area of Pennsylvania, and yes, lots of last names like that in my high school.
Thank you very much. Next up, do we have another one?
Yes, Ryan Ignatius Pratt wrote, my favorite Jor-El and Lara cover comes from the awesome team of Robson, Roca, Daniel Enriquez, and Jason Wright for the Rebirth era Action Comics 988. This is actually a lenticular cover whose majesty unfortunately cannot be truly captured in a single still image. A special honorable mention also goes out to the cover of the excellent Elseworld Superman Last Son of Earth #1 by Doug Wheatley, where human Clark Kent is raised on Krypton by Jor-El and Lara to become the planet's Green Lantern.
Yes, I remember that one. So thank you to Ryan, to Jason, to JP, David, and John.
Thank you very much for sending in those responses to our fan favorite question. And Michael, what is our new fan favorite question for this week?
This one probably going to be a little easier for John. What is your favorite crypto comic book cover?
Yes, because it was National Dog Day this week, one day this week. So, and we featured a few images of crypto. So, yeah, we thought we'd give crypto a run this week. What is your favorite crypto comic book cover? The email address to send those to is info@supermanhomepage.com. info@supermanhomepage.com. Send in your responses and we will read those out and show those to people watching us on the video side of things when we return to this segment next week. So that is a fan favorite question. All right, now we're going to jump into our comic book. Sorry, not our comic book. We're going to jump into the Clark Kent costume analysis series that we've been doing. And this week we are jumping into the Dean Cain version of Clark Kent from the Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman TV series. And Dean Cain obviously played Superman and Clark Kent for 4 seasons of that show. And we are going to look at all the different parts of the Clark Kent costume as we do in this part of the show. And we're going to start off with the glasses. And here we have a modern take on the glasses. They are definitely like a wireframe for the bottom half of the spectacles, but with a different design, a brown kind of orangey look with a different type of shape to them at the top.
Yeah, I mean they're very particular for the time period. Dean is the first one to not wear the kind of wider framed Clark Kent glasses. But that was just more of it was the style at the time, to quote The Simpsons. And, they fit that version of the character. I mean, most of his disguise actually is other parts of his face. So the glasses are just kind of like the just another accessory. But I always kind of liked his glasses. He does switch them up at one point. Around the end of season 2, yeah, right at the end of season 2, he switches them out again, and I like them.
Yeah, I mean they're definitely more contemporary. I think we got so used to the older versions, of the glasses that that just having this contemporary look is just, it just looks different, and I think it looks good.
Yeah, definitely. And then we move on to Clark Kent's suit, and as you mentioned a couple of weeks ago, Michael, there was a whole website back in the day for Clark Kent's ties for the series, and definitely the 1990s wider tie style. The jackets were very much more colorful. The shirts, gone are the days of the very plain, everyday suit that Clark Kent would wear in the 70s and obviously in the 50s with George Reeves, and that was done for a budget reason. With the George Reeves series, he would wear the same suit all the time throughout the whole season, so that they could just use the shots that they needed to, especially with him doing the shirt rip and what have you, or racing off into the storeroom to change into Clark Kent, and they would do things out of order all the time, where he, obviously the bigger budget and more focus on the fashions of the time, were obviously what they were aiming for. And so we saw Clark Kent in very many different suits and ties and shirts throughout the season, and pants. They didn't always match. They weren't always a suit, but they did usually have him in a tie and jacket.
Yep. Yeah, and towards season 4, they even started kind of throwing in like 3-piece suits where he would wear a vest. But mostly it was kind of a, it's not as formal as the previous Clark Kent.
Yeah.
More fashionable. And that was, again, very much, the show, Lois and Clark, was geared as if Smallville was the high school drama, teenage drama, young adult drama with superpowers. Lois and Clark was the office romantic comedy with superpowers. So he didn't have to be as formal, but he usually was he usually had a jacket, at least when he came into the office.
Yeah, he was definitely more casual, more relaxed. You could tell that the top button, either the top button isn't buttoned or the tie is kind of loose. Uh, it just looks, he's more relaxed. I mean, it's more, in the 90s, it was that kind of thing. You came in with either a sport coat or a nice suit, and you took it off, put it behind your chair, and loosened the tie, and, went to work. And that's kind of how it was. And that's kind of how they represented it, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And then one thing that did set Dean Kane's Clark Kent apart from his Superman was the hair. He had more of a loose, obviously very stylish type of hair for the 90s, and was more relaxed, where his Superman, as we saw in the first image we showed, had more of the slick back look, and the hair was off his face, where in the Dean Kane Clark Kent version, the hair came down for his Clark Kent. So they switched it around a little bit.
Yeah, and again, that was more of the aesthetic they were going for. Clark was the emphasis. Superman was important, but it was Lois and Clark, the New Adventures of Superman. So having him have the more varied hairstyle, and sometimes it was a little more out there than it really needed to be. But it was interesting that eventually they did settle on Superman having like the hair completely slicked back, which I guess, when you have super speed, you can do that. Yeah.
Just have to fly out the window, and it just naturally forms that way.
Yeah.
That's what it was. I did like how in the beginning he did have that almost little curl as Clark instead of having it as Superman. Of course, they were going with the, Clark is the man and Superman is kind of the disguise type of look. So the hair, and it changed a little bit through the seasons, obviously. But no, I think, I always think it looked pretty good. I mean, they tried to style it, and it wasn't always styled perfectly. But I think as a whole, it looked very good.
Yeah, and so for me, Dean Kane's Clark Kent, which was the focus of the series, was definitely up there with like an 8 out of 10 for me, because it just fit the show. It was all about Lois and Clark. So the fact that that more attention was given to his Clark Kent persona, as far as the costumes and the look was concerned, went fine with me. I was happy with that.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I'll give it an 8 as well.
I'm definitely going to give it an 8, yes.
Excellent. So we are all in agreement on that one, and that is our Clark Kent analysis for Dean Kane's version of the character for this week. Next week, we move on to Smallville, I believe is next up in the line, and we will look at Tom Welling's version of Clark Kent. That's going to be a little more tricky, because we might have to look towards the latter episodes of season 10, where he was Clark Kent in the Daily Planet, which is what we can do for a comparison. So we might look at that side of things when we return to this segment next week.
Yay!
All right, so now let's get into the super secret soundbite, which is the monthly segment we do at the end of each month.
Only one thing alive with less than 4 legs can hear this frequency, Superman, and that's you.
Yes, we are into the super secret soundbite, where the sound from last month was this. Listen up.
Hey, Jordan, you okay? Hold it in. Let it out right now.
Yes, very dramatic there. That was Jordan Kent letting out his heat vision into his father Clark Kent's hands during a game of football. And we only had one person guess where that came from, and that was from the episode Broken Trust, season 1 episode Broken Trust, and that was Ryan Ignatius Pratt. So well done to Ryan for guessing where in the world of Superman that sound came from. Well done.
Here is the new super secret soundbite for this month coming up.
This is Lois Lane reporting live from Metropolis Centennial Park. We are moments away from the race to end all races, where Superman will take on the Flash for the title of the fastest man alive.
So, do you think you know where in the world of Superman that sound comes from? If you do, head to supermanhomepage.com. Under the contact menu, you will find the super secret soundbite entry form. Fill out the form, send your entry in, and we will read out the names of each person who guesses it right when we return to this segment at the end of September. So get involved in the super secret soundbite. That's a little bit, I mean, everyone knows, the race, but do you know which version? That's the tricky part. So looking forward to seeing if anyone can guess where in the world of Superman that sound came from. All right, let's get into Michael's segment, the This Week in History. Here we go.
Come with me now, my son, as we break through the bars of your earthly confinement, traveling through time and space.
All right, we're going to go back to 1944 on this one with Superman number 31 as our first comic. I think he's going to get a good score. I just got a feeling about that. With that, it's kind of interesting that this is coming around. I guess it was purposefully done around here because usually, like in late summer, early fall, is when a lot of towns would do like the town fair. So I guess that's kind of what they were going for with this cover. Jumping ahead to 1954, we have Adventure Comics number 205. I mean, every time, like Superboy gets settled, another kid shows up, or the Kents are adopting somebody else. I really doubt their commitment to him back then. And we also had Action Comics number 197, which this is just one of the. This is the era, 1954 especially. I mean, we're talking. We haven't quite gotten into the comics code being a thing yet because it's not on the cover. But this is around the time of the Wortham controversy, as some would say. And it just Superman fighting supervillains and stuff and doing like really big, huge things was not a thing for the first like decade or so with Superman. You would get things like this, though. That one shirt on the end looks like the Smallville S from Superman 3. Jumping ahead to 1964, we have Action Comics number 317. I absolutely love this cover. It is just. We got Superman sick, we got Superman angry, and we got Superman getting kissed by two women. I mean, it literally has it all.
Age, fear, and embarrassment.
The rainbow faces of Superman. Adventure Comics number 325 also came out around this time period. I love young Lex Luthor. You didn't get a whole lot of it. But it's him taking on Superboy and Supergirl, so that's kind of cool. And Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen, who we were talking about at the beginning of the episode. You have number 80, where we have Bizarro Jimmy Olsen. Oh, I love this. It's just the 60s were wacky. 1974, we have Action Comics number 441. We just had a... It's like we planned it, Steve. There's Superman punching the Flash.
Not much of a race there, but yeah.
So nothing in 1984 this week, which I found odd. Usually there's something. But in 1994, we're still stuck in... Well, not stuck. We're still very much into Zero Month, where we have Adventures of Superman number 0, which continues the peer pressure storyline that introduced Conduit. We also have Outsiders number 0, and the Eradicator found a new home over there and would be with that title for most of the rest of its existence. And Steel number 0 in a very iconic cover, which I kind of like. This is when it was revealed that Steel could either get rid of or summon his armor from a pocket dimension. It was really kind of weird. It didn't last very long. In 2004, we have DC Comics Presents Justice League of America #1. This was a series of one-shots that were meant to memorialize Julius Schwartz, where you had a new version of a story and then the reprint of the original story, and Superman was in that one. We also had Superman 208, so we're still deep into one of the most reprinted and apparently influential Superman storylines of all time for tomorrow. I have not read it in about 2 decades, really, and I remember it not being very exciting.
And, gee, wouldn't that image of Jim Lee's Superman just be replicated so many times on T-shirts?
I got it. Yeah, I got a T-shirt with it in the other room, and it's actually that image, and it's made up of different words associated with Superman. It's kind of a neat T-shirt. And then in 2014, we have the reprints of the digital first Adventures of Superman #16 with that John Bogdanove cover that is absolutely amazing. One of my favorites of his. I love that cover so much. We also have Batman Superman #13, where we're back to having Jay Lee doing the artwork. That is actually kind of a striking Lois Lane Catwoman, which is kind of interesting because Lois Lane really wasn't a thing in the New 52. So I'm kind of surprised she's on the cover. And we had Injustice Year 2, #10. Superman is not on the cover, but he is always a big part of Injustice. And Superman #34, where we continue the storyline that Jeff Jones and John Romita Jr. Produced. In the real world, August 26th, which is today, Eric Valdez, who plays Kevin Cortez or Cushing, depending on the season, was born in 1979.
Kyle.
August 28th. I'm sorry?
You said Kevin. It's Kyle.
I did say Kevin, didn't I? What is wrong with me? It's been that kind of day, y'all. I'm surprised I haven't screwed up more on the show. August 28th, Jordan Elsas, the OG Jonathan Kent on Superman and Lois, was born in 2001, so he's as old as Smallville. And Jack Kirby, influential comic book creator, was born in 1917. And on August 30th, we're ending on a sad note, Glenn Ford passed away in 2006, and that is This Week in History.
Thank you very much, Michael, for taking us back decade by decade as we look back at the world of comic books, in the world of Superman, and then at the dates that are memorialized this week. Always a fun segment to look back, except when we have deaths that we have to remember.
Yes.
I remember when Glenn Ford passed away. That was a sad day. And obviously remembered in the Superman world for being Clark Kent, but such a great actor that has been in so many movies in Hollywood and across different things. So, sad day. All right, so that was This Week in History. I am in the middle of publishing a series of 7 articles called The 7 Deadly Sins of Superman, looking at the biggest controversies that Superman has faced over the years. We've obviously covered, one of them is, the truth, justice in the American way versus truth, justice, and a better tomorrow controversy that took place a couple of years ago. There's the one on whether Superman is too powerful. There's the one on whether Superman should kill or not, obviously focusing on the Man of Steel breaking of Zod's neck. There's one coming up on Superman's supporting cast and identity, on representation in how everybody was white back in the day and we didn't have any kind of diversity. And then there's one about Superman being a religious symbol coming up. The 6th one is whether or not Superman is outdated. And the 7th one is the Superman curse controversy and whether or not that actually is something that exists. So there's the 7 Deadly Sins of Superman articles that are being published as we speak. We're in the midst of them right now, and really interested to see people's reactions to some of those articles, because controversy is something that Superman is very familiar with, as are us as his fans.
Mm-hmm. What are you talking about, Steve? No one ever argues about Superman. Everybody agrees on the character 100% all the time.
All the time.
Of course.
Yeah, so that was fun putting those 7 articles together and finding images that would be of benefit to each and every one of those. So yeah, day by day, 7 different articles
one each day for the whole week. And as I said, we're about halfway through at the moment. So would love to get your feedback if you want to participate in the comments beneath each of those articles on which side of the argument you lie. So really keen for fans to participate in those. On a sad note, we mentioned last week that our friend Kenny was doing poorly in hospital, and sadly, Kenny passed away this past week. Funeral was, I believe, this morning or yesterday, depending on where you are in the world. And just want to send out our condolences to his family and friends and all those people who knew Kenny, mostly from the Superman celebration in Metropolis, Illinois. He was a great friend of mine, would regularly chat via Messenger, and he'd always be sending me things that he found or things that he'd bought. And really spent some time together at some of the celebrations over the years, and he will be greatly missed within the Superman community. Sad news.
Absolutely.
Yep. If anyone was a friend of Kenny's and was wanting to check out the funeral service, that was streamed live on the Super Friends of Metropolis Facebook page, which you can check out on Facebook. So if you're a friend of his, please feel free to check that out. There's been a couple of really cool figures come out, announced this week. There's a Funko Rewind Superman the movie figure that fans might want to check out. It comes with a collectible, which is a VHS-inspired packaging. So that's really interesting. Although the S on the figure doesn't necessarily match the S of Superman's costume. Also, Amazon are having up to 40% off sale on some of their Amazon devices. So if you're looking for a new Kindle or a Fire TV or Echo Dot or something like that Amazon makes, and especially if you're a comic book reader and you're looking to get a Kindle or something like that to read comic books digitally, you can do that via our website. We've got the links up there for some of those savings that might be of benefit to you, so something worth checking out. There's Dragon Con happening this week. Michael, you're attending.
Yep.
Should be a lot of fun. You're doing a couple of panels.
Yes, on Thursday at 7 o'clock, there's going to be a panel looking at the comics that might be inspiring the new film. I'll be moderating and kind of hosting that one. There's going to be a Smallville panel later in the weekend where we talk, me and the other panelists talk about our top 5 episodes. Mm-hmm. I will be moderating one of the Kristen Kruk, Eric Johnson panels, Smallville reunion panels. And a fun one that I'm looking forward to is going to be the Battle of the Lexes, where we're going to be looking at all of the television and probably the movie Lex Luthor live-action versions of Lex, and kind of debating which ones are the best. So, lots of Superman stuff going on this year, which is weird because it's not his anniversary.
No. And you will be back for our show next week to tell us all about it?
Yes, I may be awake. I'm not promising that, but I will be in this chair.
We'll keep a yawn count for Michael on that episode.
I'm going to deserve it. I mean, Dragon Con is not a sprint; it's a marathon, and it's a gauntlet, and it's there's a lot to it.
All right, well, that is it for tonight's episode. I want to thank everyone who tuned in to join us for Superman Homepage Live tonight. I want to thank my co-hosts, Michael Bailey and Mark Lax. Thank you, gentlemen.
Pleasure as always.
Steve, thank you, Mike.
Glad you're feeling better this week, Mark. Happy to have you back. We will be back next week, the three of us, on September 2nd at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time for another edition of Superman Homepage Live. Hope you'll join us then. Until then, be sure to check out supermanhomepage.com for all your daily news updates on everything surrounding the Man of Steel. Thanks to our patrons and sponsors. I've got to get this right because I want to make sure I get everybody's names correct. We have Luke Moody, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, and Tina Murray. Thank you for your support. We'll be back next week, as I said. Until then, take care, everyone. Good night.